Atiku Abubakar was in Anambra State yesterday, where he reiterated his position that he's probably the gateway to Igbo presidency. That will be after his tenure. In the southeast, 5 days sit at home ending. Some cities observing, some others ignoring. The man who appeared to be championing it, Simon Ekpanau, under possible reprimand, some persons writing to the Austrian government where he is, demanding action to be taken against him. Lawyers told them they can also instituting legal action. Across the southeast, some government did enforcement, as it were, killing and maiming citizens in the process. And you ask, where is the strength of the security agencies in dealing with the matter? Across board on other issues now, the promise by the Central Bank of Nigeria that the new Naira notes will be dispensed by banks starting from yesterday. Some banks did, but not as much as many expected. Many customers that trooped to the banks also were given the old or the current notes, not the old one yet. So when we did flood the economy, the market as it were, with the new notes, considering that by January 31, 2023, the old notes will no longer be in circulation. In some few cases, those that got the new notes, some retailers, even some transport firms, all these local transport firms refuse to accept them expectedly. But as it becomes a reality, they will indeed understand that Nigeria has shifted in terms of currency management. In Osun State is a war of words between the former and the current governor over the issue of debt. Let me welcome my colleagues. Tevetiav is joined by Abulu.
Abechi, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. Like you observed, the campaign train is up and running yesterday. The new Nigeria People's Party were in Nasarawa State, where their governorship campaign was flagged off. And like they always say, they boast of the crowd. We've seen Labour Party there, we've seen PDP there. You still see the same crowd, as it were. But I want Nigerians to pay close attention to what the candidates are promising. It's unfortunate that when Bola Tinubu got to Mina in Niger State, the crowd, from what we heard, could not even allow him to speak. So he made no promise to nobody, but in Awka in Anambra
Did he choose not to speak, or the crowd did not allow him to?
They said they could not control the crowd for him to speak. But in Anambra State, we've heard the promises from the PDP presidential candidate. Some are already saying he's promised to do one term, when he said if he wins in 2023, it will be a stepping stone for an Igbo presidency in 2027. Some are already saying that should be interpreted to mean one term in office.
You're insinuating it.
That's what some are already saying. It should be interpreted to mean that. But he's talked about dredging of the river.
I don't think there's any pronouncement on the issue of term, one term or two terms. I've not heard any from the Atiku.
Yeah, Amici, good morning. I think Atiku has. I've heard the camp mention that one term and an Igbo presidency should take over after one.
Which of the camps did you hear?
Even before the primaries, that if he becomes president, he's going to ensure that he takes one term so that the Southeast can take the complete tenure.
So are you hearing from Atiku camp, or you're hearing from Atiku Abubakar?
I bet you Atiku's camp is Atiku Abubakar. Just like the Atiku camp that released a statement in Rivers State, cautioning, asking the police to be cautious about the violence. They are saying that it's on again, the attack against the Atiku supporters in Rivers State, alleged attack against the Atiku supporters in Rivers State. So if the Atiku supporters in Rivers State are speaking, it's the same Atiku that is speaking. So taking up from TV, I don't think a crowd in Niger State was enough to have stopped the presidential candidate of the APC, Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from speaking on the podium. The podium, he had all the space, he had all the mic, all the time to give the people the information, his promises, tell them. You see, what we said last time about these rallies is for you to keep repeating or keep enforcing or keep telling the people. Like I said in the scriptures in the Bible, which I follow, you say faith cometh by hearing and hearing the word of God. And when people keep hearing your promise, keep hearing from consumption to production, it sticks to their mind. And they know.
Does it not have that right to take a bow before the crowd, wave at them? Is it not a message strong enough to convey?
There are different crowds, there are different perception of a candidate in different locations. We have to perceive Ahmed Bola Tinubu in Rivers State will not be the same way they perceive me in Anambra State and in Niger State particularly. So the message should be delivered to the people the way he has carried it in his private jet while he was preparing for the rally.
We were told that we were hearing chants of we love you from the crowd.
That's the report we got, and it is what it is. My concern, Abulu, you see, after 2015, why most of us are emphasizing on what the candidates are saying, which is what Amechi was also driving at with what Atiku has said or what his camp has said. It is a fact that after 2015, most of the promises that were made, dollar, fuel subsidy and all of that, we were told that is not what the candidate at the time said. That he spoke about three things: security, corruption, and revamping the economy. That any other thing that anybody is talking about is not what he said. And if you go back and play back, clearly that's what he was saying in all the rallies that he attended. So that's why some of us say we need to pay close attention to what the candidates are saying, not just the presidential candidates, the governorship candidates, the senatorial, House of Reps, House of Assembly candidates. Listen carefully to what they're saying, and so that at the end of the day, if they win, you hold them, by those campaign promises. And if they are able to keep them, if they are not able to keep them, if they come back for re-election, you put it to their face. And look,
and that's why citizens have said, let the candidates speak to us so that we can tie these things to them. What we see, and is becoming a trend in Nigeria, the candidates appoint numerous spokespersons. All the candidates, their spokespersons are uncountable.
Some of them are tongue criers.
Some of them are attack dogs, whatever you call them. Some of them will choose to deliver the message in that concise manner. But yes, you can appoint as many spokespersons as possible. You can do that, but speaking directly in any form, whether it's through town hall, whether it's a television debate, whether it's a rally, it's necessary. Choose the platform and the method you want, but reach citizens, and it has to be in such a way that it will be documented, such that tomorrow, the essence of all this is tomorrow, we'll play it back to you and say, look at what you said, and look at what you're now doing.
Let me pick up from what TV said. Most of these spokesperson, we are speaking, isn't it? And is there that some persons who understand our analysis here as being in favor of one group or against one group. You see, most of these spokespersons feel that they know the mindset or the mind of the presidential candidate. So they go all out there to just say what they think. They don't sit down to harmonize their thoughts with that of the candidate. So, but in the long run, Amici, who we hold responsible is the presidential candidate or the governorship candidate for what he or she has said. Because that is what is, in Hausa they say, that is the Duse. That is what is Jamen. Let me put it translation. That is what is Jamen. So what Kola Ologbondiyan is saying, what Alake is saying, what the spokesman of the Labour Party is saying is not germane to you and I. It's what Peter Obi will say, what Atiku Abubakar will say, and what Ahmed and Kwankwaso and others will say that is germane. That is what we will recall. That is what we call on civil society groups to trail this presidential candidate each state they go to. What promises did you make here? Did you divert? Did you change? Did you mix it up when you are going to the next level? So put all this together. I expect by now that we have civil society groups that have been training the presidential candidate and documenting their promises.
The media is the first responsibility of the media.
Our own is what we are doing now, setting the agenda, telling them to wake up. to wake up to their responsibility. If really indeed they are civil society group recognized, like what happened in the case between Nwajuba, former minister, and
Minister of State for Education,
going to the court with a civil society group, what they call it, RIA, I think RIA, I can't remember the full meaning now, that they want to stop Tinubu and Atiku from being president candidate over vote buying during primaries. And the judge told them that this CSO does not have a local standing. It does not have a local standing in election matters. So, and ask CAC to ban their certificate of registration.
It's a meddlesome
interloper. So that's what we're talking about. So we set the agenda. We try to wake up the civil society groups that are concerned with this, so that they trail these persons. I saw a man do analysis on AIT yesterday or so, and he gave a breakdown of violence, electoral violence in the last 2-3 months, and he talked about Borno State, 20 Northeast, 20 electoral violent incidents that have happened, and he's calling on the security agencies to see this as a template for them to know where are the flashpoints heading to 2023 general elections.
I mean, if you look at some of them are calling it policy documents, some of them are calling it blueprint, some of them are calling it different name, plan. You know, they are manifestos. They are not giving as much details as what they will say, you know, at this campaign rally. That's why we are paying close attention to them. You may repeat.
But some of them are highly paginated.
Exactly.
Some up to 70, some 50.
It is big grammar. If you pick, they are not specific in terms of dredging of the river Niger up to, you know, making the Onitsha port functional, constructing federal roads in the southeast, you know, and all of that. But they are saying all of this at the, you know, campaign rally. So that's why it's important to pay attention. And I also call on, if they come to your state, make demands. You are the one who is staying there with your people as political leaders in your states, in your local governments, in your council wards, in your communities. You know what your people need. Make demands so that when they come up to talk, they respond to those things. And if they make commitments or pledges, or they don't make at all, the people now decide, okay, we made this request, they've not made any pledge or commitment, so perhaps we listen to another candidate and all of that. It's very important.
Making demand is very important. You have to, it's input output. Is what you impute that the system will process and respond in form of output. Even in the judiciary, if you go to court, is what you ask for.
Your
prayers that the judges and justices may answer. They can't go beyond
your prayers.
What you have prayed. Perhaps it's the Almighty that decides which one is better for you. But besides the Almighty, anywhere you go to is what you ask. If a presidential candidate or a governorship candidate or a House of Rep candidate comes to your place and you make a specific demand, this is what we want. That's what we call cutting deals. That's what we call putting in your demand into the system, so that when the person enters, at some point you remind the person, see, look at what we asked, look at what we promised, how are you delivering? It's key. Let's take a break.
Just before the break, a good example also is the flooding. Atiku admitted that in his blueprint, in his manifesto, there was no plan on how to deal with flooding. But with the flooding, we visited those places and all of that they are going to the drawing board to see how they can come up with a plan on how to tackle flooding in case he wins the presidency. So these are some of the issues. There are some of the issues in your community or in your state and all of that they may not be aware of. But if you put it on the table, you push it to them, at that point you will get.
But you have House of Representatives and Senators. Are they not making promises? Let me ask, your House of Rep member, are they not making, is it just the governorship candidate or the presidential candidate that we allow to make promises? As you are trying to be a representative of these persons, 2 or 3, 4 local government put together to be a constituency or a district.
Yes, I can tell you, at least in my constituency, I follow closely what is happening. And I can tell you promises, town halls, meetings that are in large numbers, large scale, that are taking place, and demands are being made. But as we insist and encourage you to make demand, what form of demand should you make to the system? There are legitimate demands and there are selfish demands. Don't give great job opening for my daughter, my cousin. Guarantee employment for my children. Are they, to what extent are they legitimate? That's a big question. Want a dam to be constructed in our community. We want this road. We want this program. If you're making demands, the more you do it under a group, the better for you. no matter who you are, even if you're Dangote,
it can be as little as town planning.
Yes, and some of the likes of Dangotes that will call the candidate and say, will you promise me if you go in, you do this? I don't know how many of you that they can pick their course. Many of them will not even pick our own course, we're speaking. So if you want to make this demand, group, form alliances, come together as
market women
association, as cooperative society, as community members,
yes.
as even religious groups,
town unions,
come together, commonly agree on what you think it should be in your best interest, and wait for them, because I always tell you, this is the only time they are guaranteed to come to you. After this campaign period, they may not come to you again. If they come to you, you celebrate, you do Thanksgiving. So as they come to you, make this demand on them and find ways of holding them to account.
That is quickly I mentioned. That's why we also encourage the presidential candidate and governorship candidate to open their doors for these town unions to come see them when they are not doing rally. Open your door, even invite them, let them come.
But there's a limit to which they can open the door.
And let them come and make demands.
They wouldn't be overwhelmed.
As they are coming, you must also give them transport to go back. It has financial implications.
Well, I thought that some parties, they don't give shishi. They started giving these transport mobilization. Well, let's take a break.